This excerpt from the public television program, The Piano Guy, is brought to you by Petroff Pianos.
I see trees of green, red roses too.
Well, this should be fun, working through a tune that we're kind of anxious to get into, and it should be even more fun because we're going to do it with our good friend Matt Munhall. Hi, Matt.
How you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Great.
Now, what you really are thinking, oh, do I have to do this again? Do I have to give away all my secrets, right?
Right.
It's like very secret. We're going to work through What a Wonderful World, all right? Louis Armstrong.
Great song.
Which he didn't write. I actually was under the impression he had written that for a long time. I guess he did not write it, but it was written for him.
Okay.
And yeah, released in the late 60s, and it's such an identifiable thing to hear his you know, the Satchmo singing thing. But even beyond that, this is really going to lay well on a piano, I think, just because of the nature of the way they did it. And it's slower, so it's easier, which is what we're all about.
Definitely.
We like slow tunes, right? Less challenge from a technical standpoint. But in particular, what we want to do is find out from you how you would interpret this, knowing that if you were just looking at a lead sheet, all you would be seeing is the chord symbols and saying, okay, well, I know what the chord is, but that sure isn't what it sounds like in any recording I've ever done. So having said that, let me hand it off to you. And how would you start to tell somebody to play this tune if they already knew the chords and the melody line, but they weren't sure how to really turn it into a beautiful piece of music?
I would tell them if they wanted to play the melody in the right hand and play the chords in the left, that style, they should take the chord and break it up.
Okay.
Make an arpeggio out of it, which means like it's an F. So if it went, but this sounds kind of muddled if you go.
Sure.
Because all the notes are close together in the bass. So sometimes it's nice to spread them out and play it just like. Maybe that's a simple way to start.
Okay, that is a simple way to do it. So you're still focusing on the right chord. You're just taking the notes within that chord.
Yeah.
And play. Okay.
And you get a little more advanced. You can throw that if you go. Maybe something like that, or just straight up.
Okay. So in some way,
6 notes, you know.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, so the feel we want for this is that kind of a triplet feel then, all right? That's good to know. So bo do 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 do, right?
Yeah,
It's
and
that.
then you'd play that in your right hand, you'd play the melody. So, maybe.
Right.
So.
That's actually a great, thank you for doing that. That is a good beginning. Work your way into a whole arpeggio. I know where we're heading with this is to be doing it across multiple octaves and all that, but that's a real battle, I think, for a lot of beginners to do that, and that's a great first step. So you were just playing the root and the fifth and then the octave.
Yep.
Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo. That really sounded just fine. I think that's a good middle ground step to then move up to this next thing, which is probably what, playing it across multiple octaves?
Well, what I do is I sing it, so I do that in my right hand. I play very simply on this song.
Okay.
So I just go.
So you've just taken that function of splitting the arpeggio and doing it across 2 hands.
Yeah.
Because you're not having to worry about the melody line. Okay.
So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The only complication I might do.
What do you slow that down for us? Let's slow that down and see exactly what you did.
So when I was doing it simple, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can play these together. And then if you did the way I was tricking it up, there was. Bum, dum, bum.
Oh, so you were just instead of doing them all separate notes, you kind of very quickly just ran the chord up.
Exactly. This is an F chord with just a C on the bottom. And I kind of maybe not even hit this one sometimes.
Okay.
That's easy too, but you could throw this one in.
You know, I'm having a funny thought on that, that, you know, that's one of those things, if you watch somebody do it, or if somebody ran to their piano right now, they'd be able to do that in 10 or 15 seconds. That's not a challenging thing. And if you ever tried to notate that, it would look like a disaster.
Right.
I mean, it would look like, what is that incredibly difficult thing that's going on? Then you'd end up decoding it all and thinking, well, you mean all he did was ba-da-da? That's a lot easier. And
As long as you know what chords you're on and you just hit those notes, you'll be safe.
Well, it kind of reinforces our thought of you know, in playing these pop tunes, these non-classical tunes, that really reading lead sheets is the way to go on this stuff. So.
Definitely.
Working your way through the tune, is there any, you know, as you're doing an arrangement, I guess, how do you think? Do you just try to stick to the exact same thing through this whole tune?
I do, except for in the bridge part, I'd go in a more like.
Ah. And back to yeah. Yeah, you're not worried in any way about like inversions or voicings or anything, right? As long as you've got the root on the bottom, you can really fill any of the chord tones in with the rest of your fingers?
Yeah, I play the one that seems to make the most sense, actually.
Okay,
It's the easiest one.
Just
really.
based on where your hand is,
Yeah.
least amount of movement?
Exactly.
Okay.
And also, like, with the ear, you know, it's not just so it's easy on the piano, but if I went. You know, I mean, it just sounds weird to
Sure.
make such a big switch. So
Sure.
if you just kind of keep it in the same area, you can hear the.
That's such a nice chord change right there in that tune.
It's awesome. You know, so if you can get yourself to do those four note chords, which are
Right.
easier than they look. You know, oftentimes you're playing triad inversions, you know. But if you can get yourself to play that bigger chord, or the A minor like this, it takes
Sure.
a little finding. You got to find, hunt, and peck, like you say. And
But, you know, in that case, again, that's a function of once you've learned the chord, whether you've done it in just learned a bass chord with your left hand, you can use that base of knowledge to move into your other. And I guess I don't feel like you need to relearn it to play it in your right hand. You know, that's
Right.
the great part about
Yeah.
doing that. Once you've learned a chord and you've really kind of done that and internalized it,
Yeah.
well, then you've got it to use in 100 different variations. Gee, do I want it in this hand? Do I want it in this hand? Do I want it inverted? Do I not want it inverted? And if you really get comfortable with that, that's why that's just such a it's great bang for the buck, I guess, for the
Heck,
mental
yeah.
buck doing the whole thing.
And
so.
if you want to keep it really simple, you could just go. You could play the triad and this.
That's not bad.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that sounds pretty good too. Well, this tune, like I said, this is an advantage, I think, for people that are watching. Is a pretty straight-ahead tune. It, you know, rhythmically happens pretty slowly. It goes pretty straight through. There's not any big, huge, you know, dynamic issues. There's not any huge, you know, orchestration issues, and it's a nice tune to be able to get through. So we're going to hear you sing this one, right?
Yep.
All right. Well, let's put this into context, and we'll hear you sing "What a Wonderful World."
All right.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright, blessed day, the dark, sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, also on the faces of the people passing by. I've seen friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? Oh, they're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh, yeah.
Really nice.
Thanks.
Yeah, really nice.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.
This excerpt from the public television program, The Piano Guy, has been brought to you by Petroff Pianos, international manufacturer of a wide variety of quality standard and master series pianos since 1864.